Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of the Pierced Off Pod.
Yes, thanks for joining us another week.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well.
I can't believe it's February.
Oh my gosh, is it February? It is February. What? Did you do the New Year's thing over February?
I haven't, no. I'm another month behind.
Because life starts and then you just sort of leave it behind, I feel. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I think I had good intentions. It's just been an interesting start to the month.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel like I'm settling into routines a little bit. I've actually started having apple cider vinegar every morning.
Ooh.
And I was drinking, having a shot of it or having a bit of a spoonful. And then I was doing some research and because I saw this TikTok, and this is so random, but this girl was talking about how the apple cider vinegar method or the AVM or AV method or whatever it's called basically cleared her hormonal acne and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, great. But then I looked into what she was talking about, and what she does is she doesn't use soap anymore or face wash. She just uses apple cider vinegar. And there's this whole thing on TikTok where people don't use shampoo or soap or deodorant, and all they use is apple cider vinegar. And so you put it in a Mr. spray bottle. Some people dilute it. I think you're supposed to dilute it. And then in the shower, you just spray it all over you and it stinks and on your face and stuff. And then you wash it off and that's it. And she was like, I smell so much less. My acne's cleared up. I just put a little bit of coconut oil and some essential oils on my armpit for deodorant. And some people would put it in their hair and it comes out heaps cleaner and stuff. Because I was thinking, I could have apple cider vinegar in the morning again. Anyway. Down this rabbit hole, I was going in hard to figure out all this stuff, what people are saying.
Yeah.
And this person was saying, this doctor had a YouTube video that was on TikTok, and he was saying that you shouldn't just have apple cider vinegar straight, which I mean, I knew I knew that, but I just kind of was ignoring that fact because it's bad for your esophagus and it's bad for your teeth, and it actually aggravates your stomach lining. And what you should do is dilute between 2 teaspoons and 1 tablespoon in a glass of water. And so I started doing that, and it means I have a glass of water in the morning and it tastes a lot less terrible. And so that's good. And also because I've been working out in the mornings, I'll drink that, and I won't really have pre-workout because it's that sort of wakes me up at all because it's so jarring.
Yeah. And
so yeah, I've been trying to do that, and I think this is not what we're talking about today, but it sort of blows my mind how easily influenced I am. It's bad, and I'm really going to work on this, and I have already been reducing. We've talked about this for a while. I've been trying to reduce my social media intake and stuff like that because I saw this reel, and it was about unpopular opinion, but the lucky girl trend is harmful because it discounts women's hard work to being luck, which is what you raised in our podcast. And I was thinking, different way of looking at it. And then she talked about how how come lucky boy trend was never trending on TikTok, And it was it's just I see something and I just believe it, it's bad, because everyone has their opinions and there's no fact checking anymore. I see something on TikTok and I just believe it's the law.
That is true for you, I'm gonna be honest.
So I'm trying to work on that. I like having so many different
not everything
opinions, but yeah
it's not everything,
but I think when you have so much external influence, it is hard to hear your own thoughts and your own voice and listen to yourself and trust yourself and have true thoughts to yourself when you're so bombarded with what other people are thinking. And I mean, that kind of leads into what we're talking about today
a little bit, but on that point still, I think it's also different between you and I, because you've had social media in your life for extra years than what I have. Do you know what I mean? Because you started so much younger than I did. So I think it is an interesting concept to wonder, that whole notion of problem solving and thinking for yourself, and whether people do that anymore as much.
It is definitely, I think, a problem that we have so many other people's thoughts and voices and opinions all the time, because it does reduce your problem solving, because and like I think things, and all the things I think or I say in conversations, a lot of them are things that I've seen on TikTok. And then I talk about them because I find them interesting. But it's like, well, at what point, like, can I separate myself from that and actually have my own thoughts, which is what I'm trying to do, you know? And another problem is that, like, everything is on TikTok, and sometimes I identify stuff like, oh, like, I should go on TikTok less. And then my first thought after that is, should I make a TikTok about that? Or like, you know, I'm trying to, like, I want to try a new hobby, or I want to start doing things by myself because I've never really done that, and that would be good for my personal growth. And then I think, wow, I should probably make a TikTok about that, because it's like, ooh, like, people do that and they're successful and their lives look so great on TikTok, so I should do that. But it removes, like, it like, it's not good anymore when you do that. Like the idea, like, then all of a sudden it's a burden and it's a chore, and I'm not doing that for the actual personal growth. And I think I'm really trying to change my mindset from, it's like the toxic productivity thing. Like, not everything has to be documented. And I think the people that add value to those conversations online, when they're talking about, like, you know, doing the things or doing things by yourself, they've done it first for themselves.
Yeah.
Not for social media. So I'm, you know, just constantly trying to deconstruct all these beliefs.
Bit by bit.
Yes, bit by bit.
But yeah, so that kind of leads us into today's topic, where both of us have or are going through personal journeys at the moment, and we are constantly faced with the doing what's right in, what's this?
Quotation marks?
Well,
is that not what you mean?
Yeah, in quotation marks. But what's the other word that you can use for it?
I don't know.
Anyways, doing what's right in quotation marks and doing what's right for you. Now I sound like an idiot.
Doing what, you know, what you think is right versus, what's deemed as right by society and stuff. Yeah,
versus what's right for you. And breaking down the barrier of not being consumed or pressured, or I don't know what the next word is, into doing what is deemed by others. Oh, my stomach.
Was that your stomach?
I just had breakfast.
I thought that was like a car or something outside.
That's embarrassing. Anyways, that was my stomach, guys.
This is your reminder to eat breakfast today.
Yes, definitely.
Or tomorrow if it's already dinner time.
Yeah. Now I've lost my train of thought.
Doing things that...
Yeah, like...
You think you need to?
Yeah. I've lost it.
Yeah, so we both are constantly talking about this between ourselves. So we thought, why not bring it to the podcast so we can have this discussion with a greater audience and hopefully find some more value in this. But it's just, it's like we talk about all the time, because both of us are trying to figure out what we want to do or what's right for us, and the constant challenges of being bombarded with not trusting what is right for us because we've been so conditioned to know the steps we should be taking or what's right for other people. And it is such a hard balance to strike between, like, prioritizing yourself versus, like, because I do believe that you've got to put yourself first so that you can show up for others the best way you can. But it is really hard to stick to your guns and learn to trust your intuition when, one, other people aren't, or society isn't really supportive of that or doesn't really understand. I feel like a lot of people don't understand your personal journey or intuition or where you're supposed to go because it's yours, it's not theirs. But when people don't understand, there's often, like, questions, and this can put doubts into our head, you know? And then on top of that, there's no, like, guarantee that the decisions you make will lead to where you want to go. And so that's another really challenging thing to do when, you know, if you know, with society it's like follow this particular step and do this and do that, and this is what you should do, this is what's right. A lot of the time there's perceived like outcomes that will come from that, and you don't definitely know that that's the outcome that will happen, and I think that's important to remember, but like we get sort of conditioned into believing that that's realistic, or that is what will come of those decisions, even though, I mean, there's no proof either way.
Yeah, I think in some scenarios you end up going with what is right in quotation marks because you are scared to make that decision for yourself, and it's a lot easier to point the finger at someone else for why things don't work out.
That's true.
Than it is to be honest with yourself and be like this is a learning opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
even though whatever happens, it's not bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if you make the decision and you go with what society thinks you should do, like you take the job even though you don't really want it, and then
you keep fighting for the pay rise or whatever
it is, and it doesn't lead you to where you want to go, it's a lot easier to be like, well, you know, that's what so and so, or that's what, you know, that's what I was meant to do, that's what I had to do, or whatever you want to do it, rather than being like trusting in the fact that you were like, no, I'm gonna wait for the right job. And then Simba says hi.
Okay, where were we?
I don't remember.
I think you were talking about doing the thing that were you talking about blaming other people? It's easier to point the finger and be like, you told me to do that.
Yeah. Had we moved on from that though? And intuition, like listening to your intuition and stuff.
I just
I don't know.
I get that point with the like I used to be so much like that. I used to be so much like this is what I have to do, and I didn't really believe that I had a choice in things. And I think one of the most empowering things that I've learnt is that and at first it is jarring and it is scary and it is not a nice thought, but it's you have created your reality. Like, you make your decisions and they lead you to where you are today, and we have all these beliefs in our head that guide that, you know, that we have to do this or we have to do that, but you really don't actually have to do anything. Like, it might be a good idea to like you know, get up and have breakfast and brush your teeth, but you could just stay in bed all day. That could be your choice, and it would be probably like if you just did that every day forever, like you would just like die of thirst. So like, don't do that, but but you could, right? Like we are constantly making decisions, and some decisions are harder than others, but when you realize that like you have created your exact reality where you exist right now, if you know, sit in that thought, it will change from being scary and confronting to empowering and comforting, because you realize that every decision you make in the moment can lead you to where you want to be, and you start feeling more in control. Like, we can be very conditioned to not feel like we're in control, like within our family dynamic, or within our workspace, or within our friend group, or within just society in general. You can feel like, you know, you're constantly doing things for other people, but we need to actually take the time to listen to ourselves and make the decisions that are best for us. And I know it's scary, but and it probably, like, from experience, like, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people when you live like that. People don't understand because they still haven't realized this, or they're on a different journey or path to you. But you really need to persevere through that part, because if you've ever read any inspirational book or listened to anybody talk about how they created what they wanted, or how they achieved amazing things, or how they, you know, all the inspiring people in the world, they've all gone through this. They've all done the crazy thing and had the people tell them that it's not going to work, and they've kept going at it. And a lot of the time they'll explain how many obstacles they had in the way to get there, because also, just because it doesn't, you know, happen straight away, that doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. That just means that's a step towards where you're supposed to go. You need to go through that to get to where you're supposed to be. Yeah. But it is hard.
It is hard. And it's scary.
It is so scary. And when you're at the beginning of this journey, like I remember first thinking about, like, you know, just do what you want. Like people saying like, because they tell you that you just got to make the decision and you've just got to do the scary thing. And I remember thinking like, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Like it felt so impossible. And for me, a lot of the stuff that I heard was while I was at uni, right? And I personally wasn't going to drop out of my degree after 5 years because suddenly it's like, oh, I kind of want to try something else. I think there's value in seeing that through, but that's what felt right to me. But then after that, it was like, okay, now it's sort of possible to do what I want. But still, there were so many choices I felt like I should do and I should take, and I still feel like that. And sometimes I wake up and I literally think, what the heck am I doing? Like, what the actual F? Like, this makes no sense. And I feel like that. And I have this moment of like, oh my gosh, everyone is right. But then I remember how I felt when I was living for the doing what's right or doing what I should do. And it felt so wrong. I was so unhappy. I was so unfulfilled. And I felt so it just felt wrong to me. It felt so wrong. And now, even though the whole picture hasn't come together and it doesn't make sense to everyone, sometimes it doesn't even make sense to me, it feels right. I feel so much more like at ease with my life and like I'm doing what I'm supposed to, and I'm just really practicing trusting the fact that like it will, like whatever's meant to be will happen, and that if I stay true to myself and I work hard, then it will materialize how it's supposed to, and yeah, just believing that will come, and also really trying to enjoy the journey. Like on the way here, I was driving and I had to be like, this is your current reality, because I constantly think like I can get lost in thinking about the future and thinking that's the reality, bless you, that I'm going for. You know, I think like that's the reality I'm working for. I don't have it yet. But right now, like I have made decisions that have created a reality to me that I really like and I really love, and just trying to like embrace that and be like, well, it doesn't all completely make sense. It feels right and it's coming together. And I mean, I just think it's better to live like that because it's so much nicer.
Yeah, I think it's recognizing that doing what everyone else thinks is right could be the easy option.
Yes.
It's like in whatever situation that is, it's just, you know, because you don't even have to think for yourself, realistically. Like you do, but you're being guided, but you don't at the same, I don't know, anyways.
No, I agree. I don't think you really have to think for yourself.
Yeah, because you let other people make the decision for you, because you're influenced by that.
You believe their truths. That's why you don't have to think for yourself, because you block out all your own intuition.
Exactly. So I think it's recognizing the fact that it's hard and accepting that it's a journey and not a destination. And like, you know, you having that thought on the way here, you know, I haven't figured out what I want mine to look like yet, and I'm still heavily influenced a fair bit at the moment because I'm just like at the start of my journey, right? But it's like, you know, I think it's baby steps, and I think you're not going to make this drastic change tomorrow or today, and then suddenly be living this full life for what's right for you. Like, it doesn't work like that. But I think it's just making conscious decisions every day around the smallest things. It's like the 1% better every day.
Yes, I love that.
You know, so the same principle applies to developing the life that you want. And a lot of people, like, you know, you need to keep the job even though you may not like it, and that's fine. But I think it's recognizing that it serves a purpose, which is good. But allowing yourself to be open-minded for new opportunities, because that's when you just do for what's right, you close off all those other opportunities and you don't give yourself the space to really consider or even allow the universe to show you what's out there, or you're blinded to it more so because it's always there.
And I think, like, yes, there's definitely merit in sometimes you have to keep the job you don't like because you need to like pay to live, right? But I controversial opinion, I believe that there's always choices, and you might need to leave that and prioritize something else, and you know, have a bit more rough in one area of your life to get to where you want to go, or to get the thing that you want. You know, there's, you know, I think as soon as you say like, I have to stay doing this, I think you're like, it's the worst thing to say to yourself. It's much better to say, I'm choosing to stay in this job because it fulfills this, but I'm still looking for the opportunities. Like make sure you don't trick yourself into believing that you have to do these things or you don't have a choice, because it's like the biggest trap. And sometimes the choices might be so small, you know, but just believing that they're there is how they'll grow and how you'll be able to make that space for yourself.
That's right.
And I think like potentially the most important part of this whole doing what's right for you versus doing what we think is right in quotation marks is is that you have to allow yourself to accept your dreams. Because as kids we have these big dreams, these crazy dreams, and everyone's like, wow, that's so amazing, like, yeah, you're gonna be an astronaut. And then it's sort of like, okay, be realistic. You know, you get trained to thinking, oh yeah, you can be an astronaut, but you should definitely spend your time doing this and not learning about space, because the chances of you making it is not. You know, like we get subconsciously, like our dreams get subdued and we get told that they're not possible. And that, like, I personally believe you need to believe it's possible for it to happen. Because your brain, like when you realize exactly where you are is where you are because you thought that that's realistic, or that's the way you could go, or you believed it was possible. Like everything starts from a thought and believing, like even if you're not like, that's definitely going to happen, but you have to believe in the potential and the possibility. And sometimes our dreams are so big that that's really scary, and you feel embarrassed to dream the dreams that you want to dream, and you feel embarrassed to admit it or even try, because what if you fail? But it is just so important to, and you don't have to share it, like just as a start, like try to get the courage to believe and that your dreams are possible and that you're worthy of having them, and that, you know, you deserve them. And that is so challenging, but and sometimes you'll start small, and you'll have, like when I started on this what should I versus what do I want to do journey and trusting myself, I had no idea. I remember thinking like, what's your dream life? And it always popped into my head, that question of, if you could do anything and you know you wouldn't fail, what would you do? I had an answer for that, but every time that I sat down to do my dream life or my goals, I never put that on there because it just seemed so impossible. And after like 2 years or 3 years of sitting down and trying to journal about this and trying to think about it and be honest about it and take steps towards many little choices and steps towards what I actually feel is right, for the first time I've started to believe in like the last couple of months that the thing I would do if I wouldn't fail has started to seep its way and find ways into me incorporating every day. And it's really nice because, you know, it's small steps, but it's so refreshing to just be like I'm just going to try, you know, and if it doesn't lead to, like, I'm not so focused on the outcome and the expectation anymore. And that is so powerful because you can try and then just be open to where it takes you.
And enjoy the present and the journey, which is so much bigger than what we allow it to be.
Exactly. Like, we're constantly looking at the future.
Yeah.
And, like, it's good to have a goal, but when you have expectations for how things turn out, that's when you start living too much in the future rather than thinking, wow, that would be really cool. How can I incorporate that today?
Yeah.
And then you have, you know, then life will start to feel right, you know?
Exactly. So I guess at the end of the day, we want to encourage you to be self-aware and maybe do a self-audit of your life and find the areas in which you haven't given yourself the choice in whatever you're doing, and take the time to think about whether it aligns with who you truly are and what you truly want.
Yeah, be gentle with yourself. And it's taken me years to get to where I am now. And so that seems daunting because you think, oh, like that's so far away and like why should you even try? But you should try today for the tomorrow you know?
Exactly.
Just be open to knowing that everything, there are choices.
And it's all within your power.
Yes, you have the power, and it might start small, but effort compounds. And yeah, just really, I want to just let you know that we understand how jarring it can be to hear this for the first time. If this is the first time you're thinking about this and you feel like put off and like maybe even like a bit angry or like, ugh, like that's fine. That's kind of to be expected.
Natural, yeah.
So just, sit with it and be gentle and just start to open yourself to the possibilities.
Exactly.
Like you owe it to yourself.
100%. You're here on this earth to do great things.
And you only have one life, No time is wasted. Everything that you've done so far is meant to be to lead you to where you are, but this could be the perfect moment for you to start this journey. Exactly. This could be your time. So take it.
Take it.
Oh, well, thank you for chatting with us about this. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. I didn't really know where it was going to go when we first thought about the topic, but I'm quite happy with that conversation.
Yeah, I get very passionate about it, and I think it's because it's something that I've been thinking about for years now, all the time. So it's nice to talk about something that it just really flowed very well. So definitely. I hope you guys felt that as well.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us and for allowing us to have this space to chat and to, bring these topics to life, because it's truly amazing.
It really is. And share it with anyone you think would benefit from listening.
Yeah.
And a 5-star review would be really nice. Thanks.
Thank you.
Share us on your socials. Make sure you tag us.
Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. That would be great.
That would be lovely, actually. And until next week,
we will chat. Wait. Until next week. Have a good one. I don't know. See ya. Do I just say bye now?
Don't know.
Until next week.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening in.
There's absolutely no pressure to do this, but if you're happy to share the podcast with your friends or on your socials and tag us at Pierced Off Pod, that would be amazing.
You can also leave us a stellar 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on if you're feeling extra motivated today. It really does help us out so much, but ultimately we are just beyond grateful that you're here.
You're also more than welcome to come and hang out with us on our other socials. All of our links are in the description.